All right, hi everybody, and welcome back. It is Phil Nagy and Kit Nagy here, Nagy on Sports, bringing you some more exciting sim football action here, continuing in Week 3, actually the final game of our Week 3 sim here. It is the AFC Game of the Week as voted on by you, the fans, in our Discord channel, which you can always do by hopping on the Discord channel with the invite link in this and any of our other videos. So it is the 1-1 Tennessee Titans at the 2-0 New England Patriots. Obviously plenty of people to talk about in this one. A lot of new faces on both teams, and we'll dig into those over the course of the matchup. But can Bill Belichick kind of recapture some of the fire, and can that man right there on your screen here momentarily, Cam Newton, steer the ship to a winning season for them? So for that and all other things smart and football, let's welcome in Kit Nagy. Kit, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Just excited for this one. I think, like you mentioned, it's some significantly different rosters here. Everybody knows the amount of capital that the Patriots threw around as a kind of a bit of a first for the Bill Belichick era there in Foxborough. But he definitely was slinging it this offseason and saw some definite needs of the big two tight end signings, Jonnu Smith, and then blanking on the other name.
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so big names coming over to these Patriots. And then, of course, you got some big names and additions for these Titans as well. Interestingly, for the Titans, we'll see how it plays out here, but their biggest weakness was obviously their defense last year, but they both brought in and lost in this defense, and I wonder whether they're going to be any better on defense. So we'll see what actually ends up happening. They may just be, serving par here on the defensive front. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Absolutely. Welcome in, Karen, as well. George, thanks for moderating. Luke, good to see you on here. A little early afternoon, Nagy on Sports Sim, at least Eastern Standard Time. So there you can saw his stats when he came out on the field. Cam Newton has started the season pretty well, which is exciting if you're a Patriots fan. He's going to go back to pass on his first play of the game. He's going to dump it to the right side. It looks like a 1-yard gain to, was that Sony Michel over there? It was for 1 yard. Shotgun here on 2nd and long. Give it up the middle, and going to the outside and knock down our first chance to see number 48 in white. That's Bud Dupree, high-priced edge rusher, and he makes a great TFL there on James White. Just see him kind of manhandling the left tackle here in that highlight. Sorry, I'm going to go get the ball carrier now.
Yeah, high-priced indeed, and his real challenge to see whether or not he's going to succeed on this defensive roster is this is going to be his first opportunity to really be the number 1 D-end, not a number 2, as almost catch out on the perimeter there. Brings up a 4th and 13 there, but almost a nice catch there. But Bud Dupree now really serving as that number 1 D-end role without a true bookend across from him. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs in that, and is he going to be worth all that money or not as a number 1? We don't know, because obviously before he was across from T.J. Watt, and T.J. Watt is quite the force on the opposite edge rush position. So made for a lot of production for Bud Dupree, and now we'll get to see whether or not he can take those double teams and still be productive.
All right, first down and 10. Tannehill on the field. They're going to stretch it left side. Derrick Henry runs right. Shoves a defender out of the way and then gets tackled pretty quickly there by Kyle Van Noy, linebacker there. As looked like J.C. Jackson, the corner, came up and made initial contact, and Henry just sort of threw him out of the way. It looks okay on my end, Luke. I don't know if it's your internet, maybe refresh the feed. As I'm watching that both on the Discord and in the feed, it seems okay. So I apologize for that. As a nice throw up the middle and wide open and running after the catch, and A.J. Brown, and they put all their eggs in the A.J. Brown basket. Actually, I think the team's quite a bit worse at receiver this year, losing Corey Davis and Adam Humphries, who we have seen in both 2 different places now. For the Washington football team is Humphries, and then Corey Davis is now in New York playing for the Jets. So it's a lot of eggs in A.J. Brown's basket. He's very talented, but You're talking about Josh Reynolds, who was maybe the third or fourth guy in LA coming over to try to be your second best receiver. They got a couple of rookies who maybe they like, I don't know, but I mean, we're talking about guys like Cameron Batson having to have like impact roles in this passing game. And they got worse at tight end. Anthony Ferkser, who was kind of their second, third tight end, all of a sudden thrust into number one tight end duties. Of course, when Derrick Henry continues to run like that, it doesn't really matter who's playing receiver, I guess.
Right. Well, I think
that is their recipe for success, for sure.
Right. Where I think that to continue that conversation, where that's really going to start to show is we'll see what Tannehill is. I mean, Tannehill, I think, is one of those. He's better than journeyman, but I wouldn't put him amongst the elite quarterbacks in the league. And you take a bunch of weapons away from him. And, he's a producer, but I don't know that he's going to be I think he's going to struggle this year. I think this is going to be a difficult year for him with the lack of weapons. Really, the two major weapons he's got, Henry and Brown, like we were talking about.
And right on cue, there's A.J. Brown. Touchdown, Titans. Boy, that drive was awfully easy, and it was set up on the back of Derrick Henry, and then you saw that long 14-yard run by Darrington Evans, who is the second running back here. And he got that one down to the 4, and Tannehill and Brown took care of the rest. That seemed pretty darn easy.
Yeah, extremely efficient for these Titans, really just driving down the field. And some question marks here for the defense on the Patriots. They're going to have to make some adjustments to try to figure that out. Really, two people that we were talking about they need to take away, but we got to see both of what A.J. Brown really brings to this offense, both the things he's really good at. He creating space, which we saw him do, but then also the yardage after the catches. He is so dangerous in space, and we saw that on that earlier little seam pass down the middle that he just took for another 11 or 12 yards.
All right, second drive here for Cam Newton. He's going to go 5-step drop, shuffling now, throwing right side, and he's got Kedrick Bourne, who was another piece that came over from the San Francisco 49ers. So both he and Nelson Aguilar new on the outside to go along with N'Keal Harry, who of course they took in the first round 2 years ago, and they're kind of waiting for him to explode onto the scene. Obviously, Julian Edelman retiring was a big blow to that room as well. So they restocked the shelves in an expensive way. We'll see if it works out for them here. 3rd and 5. Newton over the middle. And it's going to be caught, and he's got the first down up to the 37-yard line. That's Ja'Cory Myers, who is still on the team. He had some spotty role play last year. I know because I had to pick him up on my fantasy team at the end of the season when the herd was thin.
Yep.
Here's a little inside zone look for James White, and he's going to go nowhere. Actually going to be tackled at the line of scrimmage once again. Rashaan Evans, the middle linebacker, number 54, rejoining Jayon Brown, the two middle linebackers in this Mike Vrabel 3-4 system. Newton waiting for the shotgun snap. He's got it. He's back to pass. Throws a short little route. Just a little bit of a drag route there, and that's going to be caught for just 3 yards. That's Nelson Aguilar's first catch.
Welcome in,
today.
Wendell. Welcome in, Kevin.
Absolutely. Here comes Newton. He's leaving the pocket. Now juking back to the left. He's got yardage. 50, 45, 40. Look at those wheels. He takes a shot, but he gets the first down all the way up to the 40-yard line to call it 20 yards on the run there for Cam Newton. He's still got a little spring in that step.
Yes, he does. Very nice little scramble for him, but if you're a Patriots fan, you have to cringe a little bit seeing him take that contact. That's the last thing you want to see him do. You really want him sliding because you know he's injury prone, and just one hit potentially is all it takes, and he's out, and you're down to your brand new rookie Jones, and see what he has for that, which is just like I don't know. Is he ready for the spotlight? We'll see. But Mac Jones may have a little bit of a adjustment period to the NFL. I would expect, especially as that kind of first of the or last of the top tier, but probably least highest floor, but biggest adjustment to the NFL, I would say.
Big time sack there. Harold Landry on a 3rd down is going to set up a long field goal attempt for the Patriots. Call it 55 yards. Drilling it. It's got the distance, and it's no good. He missed it. Nick Folk pulls that thing to the left in a huge field position flip. First and 10 Titans with that touchdown momentum at their own 45.
Absolutely.
Back to pass, Tannehill. Pressure coming, gets it off to the right side. He's got his tight end, the aforementioned Anthony Ferkser, and he's up to the 47. Nice little gain of 8. There's Bill Belichick on the sideline. I actually had to make him because of his weird little tiff with Madden that he never actually gets into the game for whatever. I'm not sure what that's from still, but
so you have a first year Belichick being Belichick.
first year coach Bill Belichick. Actually, he was first year last year. We made him last year, but I tried to make him look old as best I could. And he wears a hoodie. I know that. Third and 2 up the middle. Derrick Henry has it easily and then some, and he's up to the 39-yard line. Already 6 carries for 27 yards. That is the playbook here in Tennessee.
Yep, and
ground and pound.
Absolutely, and this offensive line is certainly producing some nice holes here for King Henry, and he's exploiting them. So nice production here. It continued to be efficient on offense.
Team in motion. Browns fans remember him. We had him in our 2022 season. He had some pretty good play for us. And now Matthew Judon. So another AFC North pass rushing end, no longer in the division, and he is on the Patriots defense, and he makes his first impact play of the game with a short tackle there. Wendell, that's a good question. Kit and I haven't talked about it. Potentially sometime tomorrow or not. Maybe Thursday, who knows. It's the last week of school, so my schedule's a little wonky, and lunch meetings and things that I usually don't have are happening and stuff like that. So we'll try to let you know.
First down, Tennessee.
I formation, fullback Blasingame in front of Derrick Henry. Motion coming from the top of the screen. That is Josh Reynolds. Again, wide receiver number 2 here now after moving on from LA. King Henry up the middle, just kind of knifing his way through holes, and he's got another nice gain of 4 to bring up a second and medium.
Yeah, interestingly there, it looked like King Henry made the wrong cut there in the hole. He actually had a bit of daylight out to the outside there if he had chosen to bounce just a little bit up in that second level. And he might have had been running for another 10, 15 yards there if he had busted that hole, but instead he chose inside and gets tackled there. As Tannehill, nice strike down the seam. I think that was Ferkser. Very nicely done there from Tannehill to hit his man in space.
And it was, and it brings up a first and goal now at the 8-yard line for the Titans. Back to pass again is Tannehill, waiting, dumping off left side to Henry, and he's going to pick up about 4, and that is going to bring this first quarter to an end. 7-0. It has been pretty much all Titans to this point, and in typical Titan fashion, these long drives, this is just the second time that they've had the football, and we've wasted a whole quarter already. Back to pass, pressure coming, and he's going to throw it away. Chase Winovich was right in his grill, and he was able to throw that one out of the sack. It's going to bring up a third and goal here from the 4. All kinds of tight ends in there now.
Yeah, Wendell, they certainly have been efficient here on the second drive in a row. I don't know that we would expect them to be this good as
no, it's picked up by the Patriots. And it's the rookie Christian Barmore who gets in on it. And there he is, 58, right there in the middle of your screen, scooping up that fumble, and a first down for the Patriots. Wow, huge mistake for Tannehill.
Yeah, big man that a lot of Browns wanted to bring into the D-tackle room, but I know I think we're pretty comfortable now with the competition in that room. I think it'll be pretty exciting for the Browns. But back to my point, no, I don't know that we would expect the Titans to be this efficient or look this good. But then again, the question mark I think also exists for the Patriots. How good are they really going to be? Just because you went out and spent a ton of money does not mean you're going to be a good team. I think there's really 2 schools of thoughts there. A lot of folks that are saying that the Patriots had one of the best off seasons because they threw a lot of money around in free agency, and people tend to like that because it's flashy and it looks good on paper, but doesn't always translate. I think we know that from recent experience that it doesn't always translate to great and efficient teams. And overpaying guys gets you in trouble in other ways down the road. And I don't know that they're built to win now, even though they kind of spent like they were built to win now. So it's kind of an interesting, like they're paying to be competitive in the AFC East, and I don't even know that they're going to manage that. So it'll be interesting to see. The other school of thought is that is more along the lines of how I think, which is just like, I don't know what this team is really going to be, and I don't know that they're going to be that great. They have a potential to be maybe third in the AFC East.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Hey, Andrew, welcome on. Don't you mean 5-12 or 6-11, Wendell? We got that 17th game to worry about.
Right.
All of our records, all the records that we grew up knowing by heart. Oh, you could be 8-8, or you could be 10-6. You could be like, we're gonna have to read. They're gonna all feel super weird.
It already does. It feels very weird.
Well, and just one more point about the Patriots. To me, it starts and stops with Cam Newton. Like,
Absolutely.
What version of Cam Newton are you going to get? Are they going to try to continue to run that kind of gimmicky offense to best suit his skill set, which is fine, but then until he gets hurt, and then you're not running the same offense with Mac Jones.
Right.
So
no, you can't.
And it's how much of the front office, how much of that is, all right, we got to get Jones on the field as soon as possible. Did you really just, are you really just going to give him a redshirt year and roll it out with Newton and see how? I mean, it's a very, very interesting conversation.
It is. I worry that this offense, like, how do you approach that? You obviously have to install, assuming that Cam's going to start, so you're going to install that offense.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have to know there's a high probability or possibility that he's going to get hurt at some point, that Mac Jones may be playing, and he can't play in that offense. So then at that point, do you install two offenses? I mean, like, and talk about a mess. Like, you want to make for an ugly offensive season. That's a recipe for disaster right there. I mean, that just is a great way to do it.
Yeah, you certainly can't be running two playbooks based on who's out there.
Yep.
3rd and long here. They're going to set up the screen to the left side. Henry's got some room. 45, 40, 35. Pushes a man out of the way and then goes out of bounds. At the 28, Kyle Duggar, the safety from Lenore-Rhine, a small little D3 school last year, pushes him out of bounds. 1st and 10, Tennessee. Somewhere Dinosaur is celebrating a very effective on 3rd and long screen pass.
Well, King Henry is one of the best in the business at doing that. The Browns in their opening Week 1 game against Tennessee, where there was a lot of excitement over that 2019 Browns, and they just showed up at that third quarter screen coming out the gate, and just that put the game away. And it was just like, crying into your lunch pail type experience there. That was the beginning of the end of that season, it felt like.
Yeah. Our love affair with Freddie Kitchens ended instantly. Back to pass now. Tannehill shuffling in the pocket, now firing left side, checking it down to his receiver right at the line to gain. And that is A.J. Brown once again. They're going to bring up a 3rd and very short, called 1 yard to go here for the Titans again, who have driven now down into Patriot territory once again. So after that strip sack that turned the ball over for them last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
All right.
To answer your question, or to respond a little bit there to Wendell, I don't think this team is that bad for Tennessee. I don't think they're a 5-win team. I think they're better than that. I think they're closer to a 500, maybe just above 500 team.
Yeah, I'll say they're going to have to be above or below. They can't be 500.
Yeah, right. They can't be 500, but like near that 500, if there was a 500 mark, I would put that kind of as their over/under, right at what would be considered, that the 8.5, if you would, wins is probably where I'd put the over/under. Because I think, I don't think they're a playoff team, wild card. I think they're just kind of underneath that potential range, but I do think that they're good enough to win some games. They've still got some really good players. They've got a good O-line still. They've got King Henry. They've got, Brown. Tannehill is still a good quarterback. He's better than just an average, journeyman, as they miss deep out of the end zone there. Nice strike, but just a little too deep on that throw. Bringing up a field goal here. But no, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't expect them to be quite as bad as that. But I think they're kind of in that. I'd put them at that over/under 8.5 probably range.
And while I definitely agree with you, let's also remember that they're going to get to play Jacksonville twice.
That's
they're
right.
going to get to play the really whatever is going on in Houston twice.
That's right.
And depending on how the Carson Wentz experiment goes in Indy, like they could stumble into a 9-8 and be division champs by 3 games.
Right,
I mean,
you just never know. That's how I would see them making the playoffs. If they are a wild card team, it's because, or not even a wild card.
Yeah, I
they'd
think
be
they're
in the
going to
wild
have to win
card.
the division.
I think that to get to the playoffs, they have to win the division. I think that is very doable in this particular division because let's be honest. I fully expect the AFC South to be potentially one of the worst in football. Up in the runnings with the NFC North, NFC North if Rodgers is not there because he makes that whole conference good all by himself. Or with the NFC East, who is also has potential to be woeful this year. Again.
Indeed. So another check down to James White, and just Cam Newton cannot get anything going right now. And another punt going to be upcoming here for the Patriots, who just have really struggled after that Tannehill pass just got caught right out of bounds. Unfortunately, couldn't get those toes down. They will settle for the field goal. That was the OSU rookie, Blake Habiel, kicking that field goal for the Tennessee Titans. I have no idea if he's going to win the job, but I decided that he should win the job because I'm a homer, and I am the ultimate general manager of every team.
That's
so I can
right.
do whatever the heck I want.
That's right.
And rating-wise, he was right with. I don't even remember who the other kicker was that they had, but he was pretty close to the same.
Very memorable.
Well, he was pretty close to the same rating, so I thought it felt like a pretty solid. It wasn't too homery of me. Up the middle, Derrick Henry again fighting his way. Oh, injury now. That's the rookie Briley Moore out of Kansas State. He has a lot of hair, and he is a little shaken up on the play. Fortunately, he is on the sideline, though, so he's going to be okay there.
That's Troy Polamalu level hair.
Yeah, that's a lot of hair. I wonder if that's what he really looks like.
I don't know.
3rd and 2, stretch it right side. He's got a little bit of a crease, and he falls through it nicely. That big frame falling forward across the line. He's now at 15 carries for 50 yards here in the first half as we tick down under 6 to go.
Yeah,
Tennessee milking this 10-0 lead exactly the way they want to do.
Yep, great effort from King Henry there to pick up the first down. Good awareness of where the sticks were to gain, and a very nice strike down the middle from Tannehill, hitting his target in space. A.J. Brown continuing to produce as he's really, he's outside of Ferkser, he's been the go-to guy, and that's what you'd expect because, he is the receiver in Tennessee right now.
Yes, he is. Tannehill again, good protection, goes again. 2 receivers kind of right in the same spot. He's going to go to Cameron Batson, who picks that one up. And he's up to the 31-yard line for Cameron Batson. 1st and 10 now, under 5. Go again to Henry, fighting his way up the middle and just bullying his way into Kyle Van Noy. Just getting 4 and 5 yards pretty much at will here.
4 yards on the pickup. 2nd and 6.
Turn around, give it up the middle. Of course, this time they're going to shut him down right in the hole. Good play there. Jaquan Bentley right in the middle of that play. Not sure what we're looking at here.
Man, I don't know, Wendell. I'm not so convinced that Rodgers plays for the Packers this year. Either he sits out or trade, I think, or a potential trade is probably the more likely answer with the Packers. He's already showing willingness to sit out, the stuff that's going on now. So I don't think that's going anywhere, and everything I've heard makes it sound very much like he is not interested in playing for the Packers this year.
Dante Hightower flies in there and is able to disrupt that pass. They're going to have to settle for Blake Habiel coming out onto the field again, 47 yards. This time is the distance.
Yeah, I agree with Phil, George. I think that's a real smart target to try to pick up in your fantasy. I think he is going to be one of those, high-powered, high-target or high-volume receivers, as he's going to be like the guy here in Tennessee. And think about it also, Tennessee, I don't think they're going to be as likely to be ahead in games, so not as likely to be able to rely on King Henry. in games where they're comfortably ahead in games, especially with their, I expect their defense probably is holding serve, lost a lot of weapons on offense. So, yeah, I expect he's going to be a high-volume guy as they're going to be behind and have to go, air the ball out, and that means a lot of A.J. Brown.
There you go. 211 to 43 currently, total yards gained, if you needed a description about what's happening in this one. But 3 minutes to play here. Still just a 2-score game. If they can, manufacture something, as Sony Michel is just ripped down in the middle. Jayon Brown, who was one of the top tacklers in the league when we did our Perfect World Redo sim. He had a boatload of this. Tennessee defense was crazy good in that sim. If you remember, they had 2 guys with 8 picks each. Actually, but both of those players are on different teams this year, in Desmond King and Adoree Jackson. So much to Kit's point about we're not sure if they're better based on who they lost.
And there's Justin Simmons making a very, very nice defensive stop there for Tennessee. There, knowing where he needed to tackle the running back in short of, and really great tackle in space, not allowing him to get to that yard to gain.
Right side, or back to pass. Throwing right side, he's got Ja'Cory Myers right at the sticks. Call it a gain of 9. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 1 for Cam. He's going to go right side. Is he going to take off, or is he going to throw? He's got a blocker, and he's just going to kind of get tackled. They're going to go ahead and call it a sack. And that's Jayon Brown again, middle linebacker. Play action pressure coming, and he's able to get it off to the right side to Ja'Cory Myers. And then they are going to head and call their first timeout here. Just kind of calm things down a little bit for Cam as they are right about at midfield now. 53 seconds on the play clock, or the clock in the game, rather. Little out route there is Hunter Henry, our first chance to see one of their 2, one of like the 2 highest paid tight ends in the league now, right? Both of those guys?
They are, number 1 and number 2.
Little dig route across the middle to Ja'Cory Myers once again, and then another timeout called.
And I find that interesting too, because from a talent-wise, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. I mean, not to take away from them, but I don't see them as
they're fine. They're both fine players. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see either one of them being up in the Kelsey, Kittle, Waller conversation.
Oh gosh, no.
So interesting. I would have our guy Austin Hooper, ahead of both of them in terms of potential and what he brings to an offense. And yet suddenly that contract that everybody was really decrying as being too much for Hooper. Oh no, he's the highest paid tight end. Suddenly it doesn't look so bad
for a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I would put like Zach Ertz up there. I would put like another 4 or 5 dudes above Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry personally, but
absolutely. But that's kind of what suddenly Tom Brady's not there, and nobody really wants to go play for New England. It's kind of the same problem the Browns had for such a long time.
Yeah, got overpay.
Where you got to overpay, you got to pay that bring them along tax to make them want to go there, because everybody knows right now that the Patriots are not built to win.
Well, and again, you've heard more than a few players who have played portions of their career here, saying that, oh, the Patriot way and this culture and everything, but my understanding is that it wasn't very fun to be there.
Right.
That Bill Belichick's kind of a hard ass, if you will, and it was kind of his way or the highway. And nobody cared when they were winning Super Bowls.
Right.
But as soon as that goes away, all of a sudden nobody's going to go choose to go do that when they can go somewhere else. So
Right.
the way that you counteract that is you pay bigger stacks of cash, and so it'll be interesting to see. What kind of balance happens there. Can Belichick evolve, or is it just, he sort of fizzles out at the end, retires as arguably the greatest coach in the history of the game, which is fine, and, somebody else younger, and maybe Josh McDaniels stays, who knows. But, you hear, like, even on our local radio, we got Bobby Carpenter doing one of the, radio shows on our Sports Talk, and he talks about, like, just how different it was in New England, and it was just kind of like, okay, but we're winning, so we're willing to do it,
Well, yeah, and I think that more than anything makes the decision, to allow Tom Brady to walk out of the door in New England one of the most head-scratching moves because he is the way that you can get away with having that culture and having that system. If you're going to have a guy that is that good and can be a sustainable franchise, legend that he was, and make scratch out of effectively nothing around him, and still win Super Bowls with very questionable teams built around him.
For sure.
That's how you can make something like that work. But as we're seeing now, you're not going to get that without paying people a huge amount of money to put up with that kind of a system. Because you're
Absolutely.
right. I think it is a very he's probably not the easiest person in the world to get along with. I think is probably what that is, and he's got a very my way or the highway, like you said. I think that's
for sure,
and that's only going to work with certain types of players, and the rest either have to be because they don't care because they're winning and they've got Tom Brady that can take them there, or it's because they're going to get paid enough to put up with it.
Absolutely. Kid, I've got a contractor at the door here to do a job, so I'm going to let you take over for a second. I'll be right back on the mic. Apologize, everyone.
All right.
We'll keep going now.
All right.
Be back in a second.
As the Titans are right here knocking at the door, King Henry's going to take the ball and fight for that on 2nd and inches. I don't think he's a little bit short there, but they're going to give him a very generous spot. I didn't think he had that, but they're going to get a 1st and goal here. Brings up a new set of downs, and of course, faking the handoff to King Henry there. Interesting call to try to sneak it in with Tannehill on a bit of a goal line set. Probably not the first play in the playbook. Interesting they chose to do that with King Henry in the backfield, and then King Henry is going to get kind of strung out on that second attempt here. It'll be interesting to see what they do here in 3rd and goal from the 2. 2 attempts from King Henry not getting there. We've got the interesting fake to King Henry and try with Tannehill, which got blown up as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Tennessee chooses to do here. This is an interesting spot. Do you throw the ball, try like a quick slant to A.J. Brown, maybe stretch him out? But, Tannehill's going to show up under center here, so it'll be interesting to see what play they have here. Drops back. He is going to look to throw and finds his man center of the end zone there, just kind of all by himself. That's Batson. Nicely done. Nice touchdown for Tennessee. And that one works. Kind of interesting for the Patriots, kind of sitting up in a little bit of a loose zone there in that 3rd and goal from the 2 setup. You would expect a little bit more press man and a little less of a zone look. They exploited the gaps in the defense there. So here comes the 2-point conversion says you should go for the 2 here and try to get it to 21, 3-score lead. And they convert it out on the outside, throwing again. So interesting. Batson with two throws to the end zone, or 2 receptions in the end zone there, and Tannehill hits them both times, both for the touchdown and for the 2-point conversion. Batson kind of getting involved here late. Gets a little bit of separation out there on the outside as we watch this replay, and is able to come away with that 2-point conversion. Very nicely done. So, hey Craig, welcome in. And Phil is at the door with a contractor here. He said he'll be back on the mic here in just a moment. We expect him back soon. But for the meantime, I'm filling in on the duties as the Patriots are going to take over here on their 30-yard line. Nice little return there for the Patriots, and they're going to set up here for 1st and 10 and see if they can finally respond. They've been a bit sputtering here on offense. They haven't had the best production. So we'll see what they can get done here. They really do need to get some kind of response here, because with King Henry in the backfield, the Tennessee Titans will just run it down your throat all day with a lead like this. Cam Newton tries to take off, and he's going to get tackled there before he can escape the pocket, and ends up taking a sack there. That's going to count for a sack. But 2-yard sack as he was trying to scramble to escape the pocket. He had quite a bit of green grass. He just can't quite squeeze through the hole there to get out. And it's going to go down there at that spot. All right, Cam Newton in a shotgun. Two
I'm back.
receivers left and 2 receivers right. You got it, Phil.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Slant across the middle. First down, spin move. Aguilar up to the 45, where he is brought down. At that time, looks like the Titans scored a touchdown, though, while I was gone.
Yeah, they sure did. It was Batson. They caught New England kind of in a loose zone in the end zone on from the 2-yard line, 3rd and 2, or 3rd and goal. So it was a bit of an unusual defensive play call. You know, no man on it, just a loose zone kind of stand. All the defenders just kind of standing there, and Batson just kind of found a little bit of a hole in the middle, and Tannehill hit him, and then hit Batson again for a 2-point conversion out on the perimeter. Batson got a little bit of separation and makes a nice catch. As it was interesting play calls into that. Derrick Henry gets shut down on first down, and then they tried to fake to Derrick Henry and kind of sneak in with Tannehill, which was really odd, and he kind of went backwards. And then they tried King Henry again, and he got stuffed for a 3rd time. And then it was that 3rd down. That 3rd down attempt where they finally aired it out and caught the Patriots in a zone.
I see, left side, right on the sideline, and that's Hunter Henry, and that's a big-time catch. He was 2 for 2 at that point, up until that point, 2 catches for 2 yards, so that 22 yards helps the average there, now 3 on the day for the high-priced free agent. Turn around up the middle, Sony Michel's going to run heads first into the line of scrimmage.
He's tackled at the 40-yard line. A gain of 2. Brings up second.
Back to pass now, Newton. Rolling out left side. Heading down line of scrimmage, he's going to take off. 45-35, hey, slides down. Only going to get a gain of 4, but smart to slide there. Brings up a 3rd and 3.
Yeah, that's what you want to see if you're a Patriots fan. You want him going down and not, giving up those shots.
Right side, and is thrown and caught by Bourne. There's the rookie right there, 23, Caleb Farley, out there in coverage, but a first down is achieved up to the 22. Up the middle, huge hole, and it's James White to the 7.
Yeah, Karen, I don't disagree with you. I think Belichick probably is salty. I think he was wheeling and dealing in that free agency because, he wants to show that it wasn't all about Tom Brady, but Tom Brady gets it done in Tampa Bay, and Belichick has a less than ideal season, and so now he went out and spent to try to change that, and I don't know that that's going to work, especially for the fact that they're relying on Cam Newton, and I just don't see that being the answer.
Newton's pass complete to Hunter Henry. A gain of 7 brings up second.
That was a nice play too. Henry on the sideline is going to bring up a 2nd and goal from the 1 up the middle, and Michel is going to finally stumble in, and they get off of the Schneid. Touchdown Patriots, 21-6 with the extra point upcoming.
Yeah, they really had to have that. I think the drive took a little bit longer than they really wanted it to, but then again, you got Cam Newton, and you're not going to rely on him to throw deep because he's really not able to do that so well anymore. He just doesn't have the arm he once did. So they really have to take their time going down. Now they are only 2 scores down at this point, so they do have time to do that twice more in this game, so long as their defense steps up. They really have to get this defense going. They haven't had a great showing at shutting down these Titans, and that's really what they need now. That this is the time the defense has to step up, and a couple of 3 and outs could really change the outlook of this one. But they need to get there.
Indeed, 21-7 here. 3 minutes exactly on the clock. Tannehill. Right side, into traffic and knocked away, kind of spit right back up in the air. That was Cameron Batson.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Nobody took a chance at that tip drill. They just kind of let it drop.
Yeah. Tannehill over the middle again. This one's the rookie, Briley Moore, all the way up to the 41. It's a big-bodied tight end there. Undrafted rookie free agent, but had a very high draft score according to PFF, so he's actually a pretty highly rated, actually their 2nd tight end. Here comes Henry out the middle. Watch out, little juke move, Henry. Oh, here he goes! Just going to be tripped up, barely tackled there Otherwise, he was gone, but a big run, and it puts him in the zone. Unfortunately, Gilmore saves the touchdown.
Yeah, if you're a Patriots fan, that's about the last thing you want to see is that big man getting loose in the secondary, because he is so difficult to bring down. They're very fortunate that they're able to prevent that from going the distance. But running the ball here, and especially with King Henry in the zone, look out. That could seal the fate of this game very quickly.
Turn around again. Henry up the middle. This time he's going to be knocked down by the interior teeth of that defense, that front seven. Kyle Van Noy, the first one to make contact with him. Tannehill now on a 2nd and 10. Shotgun throw, right side, dropped. Ferkser had it right in his hands and drops the football there.
Yeah, that's an
unfortunate play.
That's a concentration drop. That's a bad play. You really don't want those, taking the eyes off the ball before it's fully in your possession and thinking about going upfield. Those are the worst kind of drops, and unfortunately that could have been brought up. That play here, or that little dump off, might have been a first down instead of bringing up a 4th and 5 if Ferkser doesn't drop that.
4th and 5. Belichick discussing it with presumably Josh McDaniels on the side.
One would think.
One would think. So a field goal upcoming here. Blake Hobbiel, again, rookie out of Ohio State. Another opportunity to put some points on the board. His kick is up from 45, and his kick is good. 24-7 now. Titans lead the Patriots here in Foxborough. About 38 seconds left in the third quarter here at Nagy on Sports. Phil Nagy, Kit Nagy joining you as always.
Well, I think the only advantage in that drive for the Patriots is, although they did give up the field goal, it did actually, for running the ball, because of that long Derrick Henry run, ended up not taking as much time off the clock, so they've still got quite a bit of time, a whole 4th quarter to work with here. So not the worst possible outcome there in that spot.
Little motion coming up the middle. Michele goes angling left side. He could have just turned up the field. Instead, got a little lazy with his angle and is ripped down right away. And that's probably going to take us to the end of the quarter.
Yeah, the problem, Karen, is who else do you have? I think they still have McCown on the roster, but that's really the only other quarterback that's there. And again, he's not at all going to be able to run an offense like Cam Newton. Cam Newton is kind of a special case. You need like a, one of the other, mobile quarterbacks with a decent arm to be able to run an offense like that. So you need, as Cam Newton's going to take off and get it. Oh, then he fumbles, carrying the ball kind of out there, and the Patriots do recover. So fortunate that Evans is right there.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne falls right on top of it. Yeah, so they still have Jared Stidham, and they just re-signed Brian Hoyer. So that's your quarterback room, along with the rookie Mac Jones right now.
Oh, so it is Hoyer. So where did McCown go? He's somewhere else.
I think he retired. I think he's college. I think he's.
Did he hang up?
He's like a coach for the Texans or something, right? And I thought they brought him right up to the front office. I remember last year he had a contract with somebody where he. Because he was coaching a high school team, and he was just an emergency backup. So he would come for 1 day of practice a week and then be inactive. But then if they needed him, he would be ready. I was like, what a gig. And he made $1.5 million to do that or something ridiculous.
Way too much money. No, so if it's Stidham and you just said the name and just left my mind.
Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But if it's Stidham and Hoyer, then as Cam Newton's
ball comes out again, and Shaq Mason very smartly falling on it, as that's now 3 times he's popped up the pill.
That's right.
Brings up a 4th and 8. They're going to go for it. Yeah.
I think they have to, though. I think this is the right move.
4th and 8. He floats it left side deep, up in the air, and it's picked off, and it's Amani Hooker, the safety. Played his college football at Iowa, and he goes up high and picks it off. And that probably seals the fate here for the Patriots. They
forcing the ball downfield and not into ideal coverage there, as the defender had a better spot placement on the ball than the receiver did. A bit unfortunate there. That being said, back to that quarterback discussion. Hoyer and Stidham, I mean, neither one of those can run a Cam Newton, type offense. You need a Lamar Jackson. You need you need one of those kind of guys, and that's none of those quarterbacks in that room are that guy. So again, it goes back to that same question of no matter who the replacement is, rookie or not, you really need to install two offenses. I mean, it's kind of surprising they didn't look to get more of a more mobile quarterback as a backup, as a Cam Newton backup for that system in that offense.
Good point.
And then, then the question mark becomes, do you install an offense that isn't a Cam Newton-friendly offense with the assumption that he is not going to be great in that system, but at least when you have the expected takeover by one of these backups or the rookie, that it's actually a favorable offense for that player.
Yeah.
Which then is another interesting dynamic, because talk about the offense being bad. I mean, you want to see bad. That's going to be Cam Newton trying to run an offense that's designed for somebody who's got a better arm, and that is like not what Cam Newton is,
Cam Newton in the pocket now. Now he dances up. Now he's going to run backwards. Now he's going to spin away. Now he's going to go outside, and he's going to go down. They're going to call it a sack. Rashaan Evans going to get credit for it. That was a wild little play there for Cam Newton dancing around the pocket.
He kind of ran into a defender who was like back away from him, and it was so weird. That was just odd Madden mechanics right there.
Yep. 2nd and 11 over the middle, and he's just going to dump it off for 2. 19 of 23 for 132 and a pick.
Yikes.
Is Newton's stat line to this point.
But I don't think that's terribly unrealistic for what you can expect out of Cam Newton. I mean, because his arm, it just is not there anymore.
He's back to pass on a 3rd and 8. He fires right side into triple coverage, and it's dropped. He was looking for Nelson Aguilar, and the ball goes incomplete. They're going to have to punt this one away from inside their 20. This punt is up. Cameron Batson waits for it at his 40. Just makes the fair catch actually at the 39. We got 9:46 to go. They did have a TFL on the previous drive, which took Derrick Henry out of the zone. That helps a little bit. But at this point, I think we're just wasting clock till this thing goes to double or triple zeros left side. Henry now. His 29th carry for $116, so they are riding him like the penny pony at Meyer here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Up to 30 carries here with about 2/3 of the quarter left on his 30th carry right here. But they are at least wasting some clock. You can see 7 seconds on that play clock when Tannehill gets that one off.
Well, as I was going to say, if there's one team in the NFL outside of the Browns and maybe the Ravens that are truly built for running off the clock, it's these Titans with Derrick Henry in that line.
3rd and 6, and Kyle Van Noy scrapes down the line nicely, makes the tackle short of the first down. It will be a 4th and 3. They will punt the football again away, but in no hurry to do so as this clock runs down towards 8 minutes left. Jake Bailey, the punter, angles that thing out at the 17-yard line. Newton back out onto the field. He's got 4 wide receivers in this package. Excuse me, 3 wide receivers in this package.
You're right, it has been an interesting game.
Yes.
Kind of seeing the flaws of both of these rosters as constructed, kind of appearing on both sides of the ball. Kind of heavy reliance on A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry for the Titans, and not much else outside of that, but it's worked. But I think more so that's a tale of kind of what this Patriots defense isn't. And also, as
wildly inaccurate throw there.
More to a defender than to a receiver. Lucky that one isn't picked, because it would have gone for 6 probably. But yeah, it's been and then just the woes of Cam Newton-led offense for the Patriots. That even with those tight ends and changes, those big ticket items really has not been effective. And we've seen a lot of that here in this game.
Newton's going to take off again, 30, 35, towards the 40, spin move, and he runs right into Jayon Brown. And Brown makes his 8th tackle of the game right into the backside of Cam Newton, sort of spun into it so that Brown would hit him in the back and not in the front.
And oh yeah, no doubt. If you give me the choice between Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, I'm taking Chubb 100% of the time. There's no way I'm taking Derrick Henry over Chubb. Nick Chubb is just he brings an element that few NFL players will bring to the game, almost like that almost the Jim Brown level workmanship of just like he's going to get the job done no matter what, however he's got to do it, and he's just going to work until he gets it done, and he's not going to celebrate it, he's not going to do anything else but hand the ball off to the ref and head down for the next play.
Absolutely. Newton back to pass pressure coming. There comes Bud Dupree, and he sacks him back to the 40-yard line. Bud Dupree, his first sack of the game.
Yeah, Lincoln.
Belichick not happy.
You're right. It's been several years in the making here now.
Yeah.
Kind of the wheels coming off for Cam Newton, and yeah, it is sad. He was such a prolific talent, but that's why I worry about guys like Lamar, like
Josh Allen to some extent.
Yeah, Josh Allen to a certain degree, but certainly I think more so. I think the one I worry the most about, I'm completely blanking on his name for some reason.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Yeah, thank you. Kyler Murray, I think I worry the most about just because his frame is so slight. Lamar is kind of the same thing. I mean, they're great athletes, don't get me wrong, and athletes can take a little bit more punishment than your average person can, but on the same time, like, look at what Cam Newton, the hits he took over that career and how that has affected him health-wise, and he's got a huge frame.
Yes, he does.
Can take a little bit more of that punishment, and at that position, man, after a while, certain things start to go. You don't necessarily need those things for other positions, but you do as a quarterback, and it really, really impacts your game, and it's sad to see the wheels come off of such a great player because he was truly great. I mean, he was great in all those years. As a Panther, he was a great player, but it is unfortunate, and that's why you have to worry about some of those other players taking all those hits, those run first quarterbacks. Man, they, after a time that's gonna add up, and that's why I can't truly see any of those guys. Maybe you can make an argument for Allen just because he can get it done with his arm to a degree more so than any of the others can, and doesn't have to run to be that dynamic. But that's why you worry about those other guys that really don't have as much of the arm talent to go with all of the scrambling skills. And then how does that? Can you truly view those guys as a long-term franchise quarterback? And to me, the answer to that is just no. I mean, they can be great for a while, but the wheels will come off eventually. It's just a matter of when.
There's your high-priced free agent wide receiver Nelson Aguilar dropping a fourth down, wide-open touchdown in the end zone. Titans take over. That sums up the game pretty perfectly there.
Sure does.
We're under 2 minutes now. You can assume to see a steady dose of Large Henry. And there he is. King Henry just fighting and pushing his way up the middle now. 32 carries on the game for him. At least the Patriots aren't calling their timeouts. We'll get out of this one in short order here.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Wendell, I don't know, man. I don't know about the Steelers in particular in your AFC North prediction there. You're giving them an awful lot of credit for. I don't think they're going to have a particularly great season. I'm kind of actually lower on them than I am on the Titans. I think I think this is going to be Tomlin's first sub 500 season, so really truly losing season in his entire career. I think this is probably it. I expect, and a lot of that comes down to the problems they had with not being able to replace people because of cap numbers and folks walking and a lot of talent going out the door, and then Ben being what he is. I expect they're kind of going to be in a dogfight for that third spot in the AFC North with the Bengals, I don't know. I don't know that they could. It's very possible to me that they are fourth in the AFC North this year. If there's any year for them to be the bottom dweller, I think this is it. Just because they've got so many questions. Look at what's happened in their cornerback room. I mean, what are they going to do there? What are they going to do on their D line? They didn't really replace Bud Dupree. What are they doing in their running back room. Is Najee Harris really going to be the answer there, especially with the O-line that they have or don't have and really didn't address truly? And that's, to me, is the biggest problem for them, is that O-line is going to be – I mean, the Browns are going to eat that alive. And that's two of their games right there that I expect the Browns to sweep the Steelers this year, because I think they very much can do that.
Intended for Hunter Henry. Incomplete.
Very, very much agree on that end. That's right. They've been good for like 40 years. They can have a bad year.
That's right. Tomlin has not had a losing season in his entire tenure.
No.
And he's been, they've had what, like 4 coaches over the last 4 decades or something?
3. Yeah. Cower, Tollahan, and
3.
Chuck Noll.
Yeah, they've been. And that's so one of the most stable organizations in the NFL, one of the best, and most effective franchises. Tomlin not having losing seasons this whole time. That stuff's amazing. It's really impressive that they've been able to do that. But I think the time is ripe and the situation is kind of set for. I don't see them having a winning season this year. I think that's a big ask for the roster as constructed, especially with the decline of Ben and kind of in his swan song. If it were me and running that organization, I know that's not. It kind of feels like a disservice, but at the same time, I would have moved on if it were me.
Absolutely. So, Patriots are going to drop this one, pick up their first loss of the season. This certainly didn't look like a 2-0 team to me. So they are now 2-1, 24-7 the final. Let's take a quick look at these stats. Cam Newton, 27 of 37, 211. That's 72% completion. And he did have that one interception. Ryan Tannehill was 21 of 29, 213, 2 touchdowns. That's the kind of game that you would expect from him. Very efficient. This is also the kind of game you would expect from the Titans here. King Henry, 33 for 129. And they didn't really share much else with the sugar. They probably could have given Evans a few more carries than that. I think he probably would have appreciated a few more touches. King Henry would. As for the Patriots, they could not really get their ground game going. Michelle was really bottled up despite the touchdown. 9 for 6. White as the third down running back, shotgun running back, 7 for 23. And again, Cam's scrambles were important, but you can see there 2 fumbles for him, which is not ideal, and he did lose one of those. Actually, Tannehill was the one who lost the fumble.
Right. Well, and
catching the football.
Real quick, if I may, talking of Sony Michel, if there's one other big knock on Belichick, it's been his drafting skill. He hasn't needed to have great drafts, but he has not had a good draft in a long time. He's probably one of the weakest in the NFL at drafting, outside of some of the classically bad teams.
Sure.
But N'Keal Harry, definitely a disappointment. They've had some other big disappointments. Sonny Michel is on that list. Think about the fact that was the draft that they could have had Nick Chubb at that spot. And the difference that is has been very, very readily apparent between who Nick Chubb has been for the Browns versus who Sony Michel has been for the Patriots.
Indeed. A lot of checkdowns today. 6 catches, 33 yards for James White. Hunter Henry, 5. But then Aguilar, 5 for 45. And how about 3 drops for Aguilar? There's Jonnu Smith. 1 catch, 4 yards for your high money tight end. That's not going to get it done. For the Titans, A.J. Brown, we told you it starts and stops with him. 7 for 82 and a touchdown. He was good. Ferkser. And actually, Henry had some nice plays as well. And then Josh Reynolds must have had that touchdown when I was away from the machine. Defensively speaking, expect it to be Jayon Brown and Evans. And right on cue, it's Jayon Brown and Evans, your top tacklers as well. Also 3 TFLs for Evans. Sacks today, 2 for Jeffrey Simmons, 2 for Jayon Brown, Rashad Weaver, Harold Landry, Rashaan Evans, Breon Borders, and Bud Dupree. Man, they got after Cam today. And a lot of those were scrambles where he just hadn't gotten past the line of scrimmage, but still counts as a sack according to Madden, even if he is running. The pick again was by Amani Hooker. Defensively speaking, for the Patriots, they were led by talented middle linebacker Dante Hightower, of course, who opted out last year. Kyle Duggar, Van Noy also. There's Barmore. How about Barmore? 7 tackles, including 2 TFLs. Sacks today, they just had 1, and that was by the defensive tackle Devon Gotcha. And no turnovers for Tannehill in this one, save the fumble. So 24-7 is going to be your final. Kid, anything else? I know you sort of wrapped it up a little bit, but anything else to add to this one?
Nope. I think we probably talked enough about what this one was. It's just an interesting look at some rosters that, if not moving forward, potentially moving backwards.
Yeah, or at the very, very same, paying a lot of money to maintain the status quo. So. Yeah. Well, time will certainly tell, but appreciate you being on. This one was a fun one. Thanks again for Kit for doing a little extra heavy lifting. Apologize for that. But again, we'll chat about our schedules. Maybe back tomorrow during the day, maybe back tomorrow in the evening. We'll just wait and see. But it will be week 3, and it will be Browns. And I think it's actually Browns Steelers, if I remember, or Browns Ravens. It's another division opponent. I know that for the Browns, so that'll be fun to bring. But again, appreciate everybody being on. You guys are the absolute best. We'll get out of here the way that we always do by saying go Titans because they won, but also go
Browns!